Fast forward to today, and the man who once headlined blockbuster films is now staring down a $60,000 rent bill like it's the final boss in a video game he never agreed to play, according to sources. And by sources, I mean the GoFundMe page that now exists in the real world. Rourke fell behind on rent after a perfect storm of slowed work, medical issues, and the kind of financial mismanagement that feels spiritually on brand. Mickey Rourke, the man who once ruled the screen with a cigarette in one hand and a threat in the other, has officially launched a GoFundMe to cover $60,000 in unpaid rent after receiving a final eviction notice. Mickey Rourke, the comeback king, the chaos icon, the man who once walked red carpets like he owned the planet, is now fighting to keep a landlord from tossing him out like a broken prop from a 90s action movie. Mickey Rourke has lived more lives than a stray cat in an alley behind a Vegas casino. His story reads like a fever dream written by someone who chain-smoked through the writer's room. He started as a boxer, then he pivoted to acting, where he became Hollywood's favorite dangerous pretty boy. He had the cheekbones of a fallen angel and the attitude of someone who'd fight a parking meter if it looked at him wrong. He became a star, a real one, the kind that made directors nervous and audiences obsessed. He was brilliant, unpredictable, and magnetic. The kind of actor who could deliver a performance so raw it felt illegal. His filmography is stacked with roles that defined entire eras: The Wrestler, Sin City, 9.5 Weeks, Angel Heart, Barfly, The Pope of Greenwich Village, Rumble Fish, Iron Man 2, the list goes on. But behind the scenes, the chaos was constant. He feuded with directors, walked off sets, torched his own career, returned to boxing, took enough punches to rearrange his face, battled plastic surgery disasters, cycled through managers, and racked up more scandals than most actors could survive. He had a long history of feuding with directors, most famously Alan Parker, who publicly called him a nightmare to work with. Rourke fired back in interviews, calling Parker a liar and a bully, and the feud became one of the most infamous actor-director clashes of the 80s. He also clashed with Michael Cimino, storming off set and refusing to follow direction, which cemented his reputation as volatile and unpredictable. He was arrested multiple times in the 1990s, including a domestic dispute arrest in 1994 and a 2007 arrest for DUI after crashing his Vespa into a parked car. The mugshots and court appearances kept him in tabloids for years. He had a notorious reputation for walking off film sets, refusing to say lines, rewriting scripts without permission, and getting into physical altercations with crew members. Several productions publicly stated they would never work with him again. His return to boxing in the 1990s was itself a scandal. He took brutal damage to his face, leading to a series of plastic surgeries that became a tabloid obsession. Surgeons later said he had botched procedures, and Rourke himself admitted he went to the wrong guy. His changing appearance became a constant source of media speculation. He had a long-running feud with his own management team, accusing them of ruining his career, stealing money, and sabotaging roles. Several managers quit, and one publicly called him unmanageable. He was involved in a scandal over his friendship with Vladimir Putin, which resurfaced when he wore a Putin shirt during a public appearance. Critics accused him of political insensitivity, and the backlash was intense. He had a public meltdown on Piers Morgan's show, breaking down in tears while discussing his life, career, and personal struggles. The clip went viral and reignited debates about his mental health and stability. He was accused of being difficult and aggressive on the set of Iron Man 2, demanding script changes, refusing to shoot scenes, and insisting on bringing his pet chihuahua to set. Marvel insiders later said he was a handful. He had a long-running feud with Robert De Niro, claiming De Niro blocked him from roles and held a grudge for 30 years. De Niro's team denied it, and the feud became a full-blown Hollywood gossip cycle. He was known for disappearing for weeks at a time during the 90s and early 2000s, missing meetings, skipping shoots, and leaving studios unable to contact him. Tabloids called it the Mickey Rourke vanishing act. Mickey Rourke's relationship with Carrie Otis was one of the most explosive and publicly documented scandals of his entire career. They met while filming the erotic thriller Wild Orchid in 1990, where their on-screen chemistry immediately spilled into real life. The tabloids became obsessed with them, and the relationship quickly turned dark. Otis later revealed that Rourke was controlling, volatile, and abusive throughout their time together. One of the most infamous incidents happened on their honeymoon, where he was accused of putting a gun to her head during an argument. Another widely reported moment came earlier in their relationship, when he allegedly threatened to kill himself with a harakiri sword if she didn't accept his marriage proposal. Their marriage was a constant cycle of chaos, fights, and public meltdowns, and in 1994 Rourke was arrested for a domestic dispute involving Otis, though the charges were later dropped. The relationship was defined by violence, emotional manipulation, and non-stop tabloid coverage until they finally divorced in 1998. It remains one of the darkest and most heavily documented chapters of his personal life. He was involved in a public feud with Tom Sizemore, with both men accusing each other of drug use, violence, and unprofessional behavior. He once threatened a paparazzi with physical violence outside a restaurant, which was caught on camera and aired on multiple networks. He was rumored to have been banned from multiple hotels for destructive behavior, though he denied it. And I could go on. The Wrestler was the role that resurrected him from the ashes like a chain-smoking phoenix. Awards, praise, tears, people calling it one of the greatest comebacks in film history. For a moment, it looked like Mickey Rourke was back for good. And then the universe said, let's get weird. So Mickey Rourke joined UK's version of Celebrity Big Brother and was a housemate on the 24th season on April the 6th of 2025. What happened next was one of the most chaotic, short-lived, and downright surreal stints in Celebrity Big Brother UK history. He lasted 6 days. He entered the house wandering around like a lion trapped in a mall food court, barely speaking, glaring at cameras, calling the diary room the interrogation booth, and intimidating the other celebrities, without even trying. Housemates didn't know whether to talk to him or hide behind the furniture. Then came the incidents. He made homophobic remarks toward Jojo Siwa, triggering immediate public outrage. He used inappropriate sexual language toward Ella Ray Wise, earning a formal warning from ITV. During a pirate-themed task, he got into a furious confrontation with Chris Hughes, shouting, threats, full-blown-out chaos. And that became the breaking point. Day 1 and 2. Confusion and menace. He wandered the house like a lion trapped in a mall food court, barely spoke, glared at cameras, called the diary room the interrogation booth. Housemates were terrified, yet also fascinated. Day 3. The Jojo Siwa incident. He made homophobic remarks toward Jojo Siwa. Public outrage exploded instantly. Day 4. The Ella Ray Wise incident. He used inappropriate sexual language toward Ella Ray Wise. ITV issued a formal warning. Day 5. The Chris Hughes meltdown. During a pirate-themed task, he got into a furious confrontation with Chris Hughes, shouting, threats, chaos. This became the breaking point. Day 6. Eviction removal. ITV released a statement saying Rourke had agreed to leave after further inappropriate language and unacceptable behavior. Translation: he was kicked out. Not evicted by the public. Not voted out. Removed by production. It was iconic. It was bizarre. It was peak Rourke. After being removed on April the 12th, he expressed regret and shame for his actions, saying he had a short fuse and was a work in progress. Rourke's representatives later stated he was pursuing legal action against the show over an alleged pay dispute, claiming the show mishandled the situation for marketing purposes. Fast forward to today, and the man who once headlined blockbuster films is now staring down a $60,000 rent bill like it's the final boss in a video game he never agreed to play, according to sources. And by sources, I mean the GoFundMe page that now exists in the real world. Rourke fell behind on rent after a perfect storm of slowed work, medical issues, and the kind of financial mismanagement that feels spiritually on brand. The eviction notice hit, the deadline arrived, and Mickey Rourke did what any self-respecting Hollywood legend on the brink would do. He launched a GoFundMe. And honestly, it might be the most relatable thing he's ever done. Mickey Rourke is a survivor. He's been knocked down by Hollywood, by life, by his own decisions, and by several professional boxers. And every time, he gets back up. This GoFundMe isn't just a fundraiser. It's another chapter in the most chaotic, unpredictable, strangely inspiring career in Hollywood history. And if there's one thing we know about Mickey Rourke, it's this: he's not done fighting. Will you be donating to his rent fund? Comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please throw me a thumb. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and I hope to see y'all in the next one.